Almost screwed that up. There we go. Good morning, everybody. It is a Wednesday morning. Yeah. Simphiwe was here, Gareth Cliff, and we're joined by the voodoo version of Mark Cooley, who you may remember from the early days of CliffCentral. He was one of our people right from the get-go, and he stuck around. He was with us till the end. He had a show on CliffCentral, and he is back today to tell us about what's been happening with him. Hey, Mark, how you, bro? And by the way, there's the scariest, like, shadow version of you that we have there.
I know. It looks like it's some Harry Potter witchcraft and wizardry happening here, guys.
Yeah, it looks like
potions.
It looks like you're going to be bringing in the voodoo this morning.
I am. I've got the magic stick, Gareth. I do. Thank you very much for having me.
Sure, man. What's been happening with you? Give us
a lot. Well, part of the voodoo vibes is part of my rebuilding. You know, the thing is, Gareth, after the COVID pandemic, we've all got this thing. It's like, you know, I used to be amazing. And now I'm rebuilding, you know, I'm restructuring. So that's sort of what. So I'm living in a little cottage at the back all by myself. But it's all good. I'm starting afresh. I'm now in radio. Can you believe it or not, guys? I'm in radio.
What radio are you doing?
Star FM. It's a brand new station. It's a community radio station.
Okay. I've heard of Star. Yeah. So I saw a thing the other day that Unati Gai is going there as well. Is that right?
Yeah, she just recently joined us. She'll be starting with us in March.
She'll be doing a show with some other dude whose name I know, but I can't remember.
Justin Turin.
That's it. Now, wasn't he? He was also somewhere. I mean, Unati's had this very public parting with a number of radio stations. So I'm glad to see that she's going to be doing radio. What time are you on?
From 6 till 10 every Saturday morning.
Oh, nice.
They gave me the horseshit slot just to start off, just to be like, prove yourself, buddy.
So 6 to 10 in the morning or in the evening?
Yeah. Who's listening at that time, really?
Well, you'd be surprised. I mean, I always listen. I hate weekend radio. I mean, I used to. If they gave me a weekend slot, I always thought it was a punishment.
That's how I feel.
but it's amazing. Like, I think weekend mornings it's like the third or fourth biggest audience, just because people are busy doing the shopping, or they're waking up to go to gym, or they've got stuff to do. If they've got kids, they're taking the kids to like sports and stuff. So actually, you have a lot of people listening at that time. That's not bad.
Okay, that's good to know. There are people listening.
Who's in charge? Who's in charge if they haven't even told you this stuff?
Well, it's Cara. She's a station manager. Shame, she's lovely. It's just that I do the show on my own as well. So it feels like I'm alone in a vacuum to whoever. So yeah, sometimes it does feel like I'm speaking to nobody, to be honest. But now that I've heard you say it, I believe it.
Listen, the worst is the middle of the night. At one stage, I think it was 4 to 6 in the morning, which is just...
How do you guys survive? Wait.
This was ages ago. It was when I just started in radio, and that's a fucking nightmare. You only got people who are committing suicide who are up at that time, and people who are doing, like, they're coming home from night shift, so they're exhausted or whatever. But it's a shitty time, and the calls you get from people, because I used to love taking like live calls from people.
Yeah,
you would not believe the kind of nutcases who phone you at like 4 in the morning. It's horrendous. There's like some granny whose circadian rhythms are so bad that she's like up at 3 in the morning and she's like making tea and shit. You're like, what are you doing, Gran? Like, go back to sleep. You should. It's still dark outside. Hello, could I speak to the man on the radio? You're like, yeah. What do you want? No,
I imagine a lot of truck drivers.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, aren't they busy doing other things?
Yeah, that's also true. Jesus. Well, listen, I mean, that's 6 in the morning on a weekend. Not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah,
right, and the Star FM has got. I mean, I knew what you were talking about. There's a bunch of community radio stations. People say they're on them. I'm like, So these people, least we know what that is. Is that
It's basically because we stole 91 Hot FM's frequency. So we've still got some popularity there because we still use the same frequency. It's 91.9.
so where are they putting Monati?
In the evenings, she's going to be doing the drive time show 3 till 6 in the evening.
Afternoon, evening. Okay. And then mornings, who does that?
Craig and Lucky.
Oh, from the old 947.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's actually becoming a power station, you know.
That's
so
amazing.
I have
It's
to
a good
step
good
up my
lineup.
game. Yeah, it is. It is really good. It is really
What
good.
kind of what do you guys play music as well?
Yeah, so it's mostly local music, which is actually what I really love about the station. It truly does promote local music, and I'm getting introduced to more local music, and I think the scene is blowing up in general. Obviously, a lot of Amapiano, which you
Yay.
can't
worry,
avoid the yellows
Simphiwe
these days.
loves that. Listen, I have to tell
Of
you.
course.
I have to tell you about yesterday. Simphiwe, can you put that clip that you made of Jane yesterday
Of course.
with the choir? So we went to the office. We all get there on a Tuesday because there's an ops meeting, and Tuesday's like everybody's office day. So it doesn't matter what else you've got on. Like we're all in the office on a Tuesday. So yesterday also happened to be 22/02/2022, right? So everybody was talking about the numbers. But I'm not surprised. It was also Mum Jane's birthday. So Jane Malachi, who of course has been at CliffCentral from the get-go. And you remember Jane, she used to shout
I
at you.
know Jane. Yo, she knows how to stir a pot if I've ever seen anybody.
And how. So Jane turned. We're not going to give her age away because she looks fantastic for her age. And Jane is obviously, I think she's probably the person at CliffCentral who's the most attention-seeking. I don't think it's unfair to say that, right, Simphiwe? I mean, that's about right.
Oh, that's a big claim.
He's also one of a kind. Like I thought Mdluli was one of a kind, but ours Jane, she is an experience and a half. So yeah, but I love her. I say this out of love.
No, listen, if you don't say it out of love, she'll come and get you. You know that. So you got to be very careful. Like, don't piss Mum Jane off, you know? So anyway, we were all at the office yesterday, and then Rena organized something special where Jane came with us downstairs after we'd given her the cake, and like she even got serenaded by one of our clients, Yaku, who was doing his show from there. So there's a whole lot going on for Jane, you know, because you've got to make a special fuss of Jane. It's not like the rest of us. If you make too much of a fuss of me on my birthday, I get embarrassed and then I just want to leave. But Jane likes a big noise. So we got this choir.
If not, somebody's going to die.
She gets a bit jealous. She'll be like, you didn't do that for me.
That's absolutely right. And we got this choir and they sang happy birthday to her. And it was probably like, this was her favorite thing. So let me play this for you. You can see what went down because Jane was in her element. Afterwards, I said to Lebang, because we were standing next to each other, I was like, you know, the only person who this was required for is Jane. And if we didn't make a fuss of her, it would be the end of the world. And we would have all known about it. And she would have shat on us for the next 3 weeks. So here it is. Look at this.
Happy birthday to you. Oh, happy birthday, dear Jane. Woo! Happy birthday to you.
And that's her in the middle, getting all the attention. Look at her, loving it. And of course, she loved it. She was so happy that she was getting all the attention, and she could have carried on like this for the rest of her life. And it wouldn't have been enough, even if we'd carried on all the way. So there's a little.
100% agree. She could have that introduction to work every day, and it wouldn't be enough.
Isn't it great though? I mean, like the only people I know who get a birthday like that, a birthday song like that, are, you know, like famous dead
Presidents.
people, like like Madiba. Yeah, like Madiba got like that. And I said to Jane, it's you and Madiba that get this. And she's like, I deserve it, she says.
There you go. She has the power of my diva. She really does.
I love her confidence for that. She deserves it.
Well, happy birthday to Mom Jade. Yo, what a
Sure.
legend. What an absolute legend.
Cabela says, I love ours, Jade. That choir slaps, says Congo Chris. They're actually performing at the Theatre on the Square on Friday around lunchtime. So if you want to know more, we'll post all the details on cliffcentral.com. You can actually go and see that choir. They did this beautiful song. When we walked in, I saw you, Simphiwe. You were dancing along to it when we walked in. They were busy rehearsing.
Just like, I have to say that they made such a beautiful, sad song, so romantic. What were the lyrics? Something about like kiss and goodbye. And I was just like, okay, yes, let's go. Oh, it just like, it took me back to the days when R&B was still R&B. And we were all just like doing that step. And they had a woo. And you're like, where's the man? Where you
were
at?
People singing in the rain? Was it
yes.
Singing in the
and
rain?
then they're like,
woo.
And you're just like, so okay, guys, let's go. It was absolutely
Mark,
amazing.
You said you're going to be playing local music. There's going to be a lot of Amapiano. There's going to be some good shit going down there. Yeah. That's nice, dude. Well done to you. You know, we were talking yesterday about all the great people, because you spent a lot of time at Cliff Central in the beginning, and you were there just hanging out with everybody. And we have such like a diverse group of people who've come out of our little stable. And all of them have gone on to do a really incredible job somewhere. Makes me happy, man. Now you're on the Star FM. We've got Brett Lindeque is going to join us soon. He's gone
awesome. I remember Brett.
Remember Brett? He started his own podcast, and apparently he's doing very, very well with that too. We'll catch up with him at some point. We've got we had Candice Mama on the other day, who's gone on to do amazing stuff as well. It's just great to see all of this happening. With people that you know we've known now for more than 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, to be honest with you, starting at Cliff Central has kind of spoiled me in terms of radio and broadcasting, because you know we're so free there, we're able to talk about anything and everything. And now I've got to radio, and there's the BCCSA, there's ICASA, the government owns me.
You're not doing whatever you want to do anymore.
Yeah. So it's like letting a kid out free and telling you can have as much cookies as you can, and then afterwards just block him off completely. So it's been an adjustment, but I definitely learned everything I know from Cliff Central, and that's definitely family. You know, I don't know what is happening there, but there's more than just broadcasting at Cliff Central. I think people were looking for a way out of the ordinary and an escape from what we usually know. And I think what you did there has definitely given us that opportunity. And I think that's why a lot of us have branched out to do amazing things, is because we've been on Cliff Central. What else can this world give us? Yeah, you know, once you're on that platform, you're doing
stand-up again, aren't you?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, for a long time, obviously it was dead and gone. But I just did my first one-man show at Funk Bar on Wednesday. Thanks to Samoka. And it was a dream come true, to be honest, because you know, for a long time as a comic, you just going up against everybody that's on a lineup. You know, so you don't really get to know yourself fully as a comic. Like, what would I be like on Netflix, or what would I be like in a full hour special or show, where the show is genuinely about you? Because that's what we want as comics. We're all a bunch of narcissists. Don't let anybody lie to you. So it was good to get that experience of, okay, if I were ever to do a real full-on show, this is what it would look like, as opposed to a lineup of 10 comedians where you only get 5 to 10 minutes each. I had something to say, I had a story to tell. So that was a great experience.
Listen, I've always said that stand-up is the most difficult of all the performing arts, because your audience tells you exactly what they think of you every step of the way.
In instant time as well. And to be honest, like even to this day, I don't think it'll ever go away. I'll never stop getting nervous or getting worried before a show. Like my girlfriend will try and comfort me before the show and be like, "Bitch, there's nothing you can do right now. I'm going into hell. I have to be prepared." Like,
so listen, tell us about this girlfriend, dude. People always love to know about the relationships ups and downs. So go on.
There's nothing real to say. It's just like I'm in a relationship and it's good, and she's moved in now, and it's just when you're living with somebody, life changes. Yeah.
It's a very big deal.
Wait, how long have you guys been together?
4 months. 4 months.
Ooh,
wait. So you met her what 5-6 months ago, and then you got into the relationship, and then what, like 2 months into the relationship, you're like, we're ready to do this. Babe, you and I can stay together. We are what?
No, I'm not letting her go. She's a bartender, so it's tough work. So I have to keep her right here. Otherwise,
if she's a bartender,
danger. Yeah.
If she's a bartender, dude, then she's not guaranteed to be yours unless you are looking after her like gold, because she's,
you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I need to be a millionaire. I need to be doing something, bro. So when she's home, I'm her slave, basically. Oh, do you want coffee, babe? No, I've got you. You want a foot wrap? No, I've got you. Whatever you need.
Who knew you would be the boyfriend who'd be giving foot rubs and making coffee?
You know what I'm saying?
I
thought I was cool. I thought
you were a bit of a shithead and a bit of a player once.
Yeah, once upon a time. But then I started dating a bartender, and I had to humble myself.
Okay. But how are you finding relationship life, especially since you guys live together, and is it a shock to the system?
Mm-hmm.
It is, but it isn't at the same time. Like, it's good. We get one another. We're pretty much the same person. So it's nice to have somebody there constantly. And it's just new to me, but it's not a shock to me. Does that make sense? Like, it's new to me, but it doesn't bother my system. It hasn't really thrown me off my grid.
This is something we all have to realize, and I don't know whether I've felt this more than 2 or 3 times in my life, but when you're with the right person, it doesn't feel like an effort.
It really doesn't.
It just works.
It honestly feels like you just make it better. You make my life better. It's like I could have been doing all of this alone, but now there's booty rubs involved, so like that makes it. You gotta get the booty rubs in, yo. And I'm so glad because
now. That was very important. She had to check that box and be like, okay, but can I give Mark Mdluli booty rubs?
Booty, you know what I'm saying? And winter's coming soon, yeah. So
winter is a good time to have a relationship, because then you're not in the bed on your own. It's not so
but
cold.
You have to get her in summer, though. You have to be able to defeat the summer flings. If you can beat the summer flings and make it into winter, you're the chosen one.
When do you start ending? Mark, school us, because some of us are still single. So when do we end the summer flings? Because December relationships go on a break. We all know that. And September is also just a bit of a summer bodies are out. We haven't seen them since winter. So when's the right time?
No. What I'm saying is, if you can make it through December, January, you must marry that person. You guys have done it.
Hey, slowly. Hold on. You've just moved in after 4 months. Don't rush to marriage. Jesus. I must say, though, that a good relationship is like a job that you love, because it doesn't feel like work, and it's easy, and it just kind of flows. That's when you know you're in the sweet spot. But do not rush into marriage. How old do you know?
29.
Yeah, Betty is knocking, Chief. How do you feel?
It is. But I'm not rushing at all. To be honest, I just feel like I am behind in terms of my parents' generation and anybody else before me, because by this time I was 2 years old in my parents' relationship, for instance. So sometimes I feel like I'm behind, and I look at Facebook and a lot of my friends are getting married. Even some of the girlfriends that I've been with in my life are getting married. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing? That's my girlfriend, bro. Why are you marrying my girlfriend right in public, bro? They'll even have children. I'm like, that's my kid.
Cabello says, are you sure you're not in a smashing ship instead of a relationship, bro?
Oh, well, we do smash in the ship. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with rocking the boat a little bit, Kabelo.
Listen, by the way, I just saw this from Chris. He says, "Dear people of Gqeberha, remember to add Jikken to your morning coffee as per the mayor's advice." Apparently, the stupid mayor in Port Elizabeth has been telling people that there's some kind of a problem, and the water hasn't been treated properly. So DK says Slummies, which is East London, also made the general news regarding water, had too much rain, and they have been struggling to sort out the dosing ratios, etc. Do not put Jikken in your water, for God's sake. Like, people, you will die. And if you put Jikken in your coffee, you will die. Bleach in coffee is not a good idea. So do not listen to that advice. If your stupid politicians are thinking and talking like that, then now you know they just want to kill you. Now you know they have no interest. They just want you dead.
They won't get your vote, so you might as well die.
I've got to tell you, like, apparently the city of Tshwane, Pretoria, issued some kind of warning last week already. Listen to this, Simphiwe. You heard about this?
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter.
There are cases of typhoid. Now that's basically like it's a bacterium that causes you to shit water and you just have terrible diarrhea, and it can kill you. I mean, it's a really bad problem. It's a problem that used to exist and still does in like very backward places where they don't treat the water properly, and people get essentially dysentery, and they basically just cannot stop shitting themselves, and then it can kill you. Like, typhoid is a very serious thing, and it happens in places where they have no modern treatment facilities for water, and people still drink from wells or from streams or from whatever. I mean, this is happening in our capital city. I was horrified. Apparently, there've been about 7 or 8 cases, so it's not as if it's a massive breakout all over. It's localized, but still, I'm like a little bit nervous now. I used to just go to the tap, and I mean, I'm not ashamed to admit that there's nothing wrong with tap water, and we have pretty good tap water in South Africa, so it doesn't bother me. So I've never thought, must rather boil this water, filter it, do whatever. I've never worried about that. Now I go to the tap, I'm like, don't know.
Neither have I, and like I've been shitting a lot, so I thought it was because of all the drinking. I'm worried. It's just my water.
Is this why it's dark, Mark? Because there's no electricity. You've been using all that energy.
Just going into the toilet.
Oh my god!
I've got the typhoid fever, guys.
So it is a bacterial infection that can spread throughout the body. It affects many organs, and without prompt treatment, it can cause serious complications. It can be fatal. It is caused by the same bacterium that you get in uncooked chicken, Salmonella typhi, which is related to the one that causes the food poisoning, or it's in the same.
So there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. Gareth, can I tell you, Salmonella is a myth in chicken. Everybody's always worried about salmonella. I haven't heard of one person to actually get it. It's like, no, don't undercook the chicken. It's like, have you ever heard of somebody who really got salmonella?
But do you also want to eat undercooked chicken? Like,
no, I don't want to. No, but the paranoia is uncalled for. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it.
We got to put a disclaimer in here straight away. You know how they're going to try and cancel us for misinformation. Do not listen to the mayor of Gqeberha who says that you must put Jikken in your water, and do not listen to Mark Mdluli. You can get salmonella poisoning from chicken if you undercook it.
No, don't believe it, guys. It's a myth. Salmonella is a myth.
Stop it, Mark. People must not eat undercooked chicken. Point blank, period. Okay, Jesus. It's all about taste, and
people like their chicken rare. I don't know what you talk about. Medium rare is my favorite, to be honest.
Cis man with chicken. No. Ugh.
You must return that. Why are you eating that? No.
Guys, cook your chicken. I'm just saying, I don't know anybody in my real personal life that's had salmonella.
A lot of people are talking about this. So what is some card drinking? People want to know, Simphiwe, what are you drinking there?
I'm drinking water, boxed water.
Boxed water.
Water.
It looks like that Will Smith water or his son's water, Jaden Smith. Saving the planet water.
Is that expensive?
I wouldn't know because Labang brought a whole box of this. I think her cousin or her friend kind of manufactures this water, and we've been trying it out. So yeah, like I think it's a great time to just be like, drink your water, kids. Okay, stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated, you know, and also like don't drink water from the tap. Okay, all right.
Yeah, actually, you read the news ahead of us.
So this is Typhoid tap water from China.
All the best, Gareth. Nice knowing you. It has been a pleasure and a treat.
Great. Listen, we laughed, but there's some serious comments here about this too. So DK says municipality employees have fucked up the infrastructure, should be charged with attack and destruction of state assets, jail time for them. I couldn't agree more. Like if people have actually gone out of their way to bugger up the infrastructure, they should be locked up. Nico says, great weight loss program. What are you complaining about? Right?
Some people don't care
only
how.
If you wanted to lose the weight.
Yeah,
only if you wanted to.
Dude, if I get super thin and very, very lean, but too lean, then you know what's happening. It's not HIV. It's it's the typhoid in the water. Carl says, false. We used to have good tap water. This government does zero right, and you trust the water? Very fucking brave. Well, you saw me just take a sip now, so we'll see. If I'm not here next week, then you know what's happening.
It's all about living on the edge.
Trust.
Yeah.
There's certain things that you just have to trust. Am I gonna not ever drink water again? Come on now.
Well,
I know our government can be judgy, but
Ruth lives in Pretoria. She's been boiling water since Friday. So you're
okay. That's another alternative.
That's how you managed to survive. I see you, girl. I see you.
Ruth knows the hood.
Congo Chris says, Selma Nella, is she single?
It's Selma Hayek's distant cousin.
Oh my God. Oh wow.
I don't think you want to get into bed with that. Just saying.
Yeah. Leave it alone. No, you don't want to get in that.
David says, I don't know what you guys are talking about. You shouldn't be drinking water anyway. Fish fucking it. Drink beer.
I'm with you, Dave.
Here's more terrible advice from Corona's Boring. Says, boil your chicken and jick just to be sure.
Just cover all the bases.
I think that's the best one. That is absolutely the best one. It's a 2-in-1 formula, guys. You have properly cooked chicken. Your water is clean.
It's clean. It's sanitized. You've got it all.
I high key, low key endorse that message.
Carl says, not HIV, H2O. People are on fire this morning.
Yo.
Oh my God. Suneless says, Gareth, you're drinking from an MP's ass since you live in Pretoria.
Wait, is that correct?
Mm-mm.
You know,
no, man.
No.
Robin says, a teaspoon of lavender jick. No, stop it. You people are giving terrible advice here. You don't need to do this.
We're becoming Donald Trump, but
we're like, the next thing we'd be telling people, get yourself some hydroxychloroquine and just inject it straight into your asshole.
Straight into your system.
Right. Oh my God. Anyway, this
is like you have to make that disclaimer for sure.
I don't
none
know.
of this advice is real.
You know what? Maybe we're laughing about this now, but I do have to say, if this carries on as a serious thing, and maybe we're stupid to not be taking it seriously and joking about it this morning, but that's what we do. We should maybe get a doctor on to talk about what you do if you get typhoid, because it doesn't sound like a fun thing to have, and people have died from it in the past. So there's no reason to just like breeze through this. Maybe we'll speak to a doctor. Otherwise, we'll just keep on giving ridiculous advice like G-Star, bleached zinger wings.
No, we just need the death toll to rise. You know the world. We don't care unless at least 10 people have died.
Yeah, remember the Poloni? Remember the Poloni? We were like, ha ha.
Yes. What is that disease called? What is the Poloni disease called? I forgot about it, but it was
listeriosis.
Listeriosis.
Yes. No, that had
guys.
black
I
people
thought I
on
was
the
gonna get
chokehold.
listeriosis.
Let me tell you, Gareth.
I didn't even eat Poloni, but I was worried.
No, but Gareth, let me tell you, that had black people in a chokehold. People that eat kota, guys, they were just like, what are we gonna do now? We can't add bologna in our kota. Yo, I can't live a kiss of fire. Yo. It had black people on a chokehold.
And it's escort. We all know this is the only bologna. Now we can't even have it.
Especially that pink one. They were just like, yo, guys, are you telling me my kota that people were just like, you know what, if I die, I die. But a kota I must have. I'm gonna have a kota this weekend. But if I die, I'd die.
That's like Corona now. It's like I'm not wearing a mask. If I die, I die.
I'm
Here's
just
some more-
letting you know.
Some more terrible advice. DK says Domestos is a great marinade. Oh my god.
No, you guys are horrible. You guys are horrible chefs. I can't take you guys anywhere. You guys are not coming near my kitchen. Please don't.
Right. So listen,
the
before we get to Revix, because we're going to find out what's happening in the world of cryptocurrency, and we need to do that, especially when things are up and down as much as they have been in the last few weeks. We'll speak to Brett from Revix in a short while. But before we get to that, Simphiwe needs us to help solve a problem for her.
All right.
So she's turning 27 next month, right, Simphiwe? And you want to know, are you too old to still be sending out a birthday list? Now, what is a birthday list? Help us with this.
All right. So for the past 9 years, 10 years, I've been like a good month before my birthday, I've been sending out a birthday list of, it has all the items of things that I'd like you to gift me.
Are you joking? This is like your Amazon gift list, your Amazon wish list?
Yes.
Yeah. Or a registry.
So when I was
marriage.
16, I had 16 items. When I turned 21, there was 21 items and so forth. And every year it will change according to what I get. So I've gotten like a ice cream maker, a waffle maker. I've gotten myself like a new laptop, or a particular book. So I remove those items and I add new items.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm turning older and much more closer to 30, I don't know if I want to create a birthday list that has items of like 27 items. You get what I mean? So I'm thinking, should I or should I not? Because I also need to send it out like now, so that people can get their money in order and figure out what they want to give me.
Two different points of view already coming in. Ruth says, I so respect SIM card. She knows what she wants. I love it. And Nico saying, get lost. It's not your wedding.
That's I'm on Nico's side on this side. So every year you get 20, like this year, for instance, you would have gotten 27 gifts if you wrote out a list.
Wow.
No. So I have 27 items on the list, and you get to pick. So there's different things. I mean, there's things that are super expensive and super cheap. You get to pick. The only thing is that I don't want a gift that I'm not going to appreciate. So I go out to kind of like make your life easier by saying, okay, here's the items I want. Pick from here, and I'll be happy. I think I'm getting a bit tired.
Fair enough.
I think you're a bit spoiled. I mean, you surely don't expect these people who are your friends to buy you things like off a gift registry every year, or do you?
I do. It's different things. So like last year, I had like a gin scented candle. I got that. That was amazing. A few years before that, I got like an ice cream maker. I got a waffle maker. That was great.
Okay, wow. You have some nice friends.
A scented candle's one thing, but buying you a whole ice cream maker, that's a whole different thing. I mean, that's a couple of $100 at least, maybe even thousands.
No, well, I mean, it was just a few hundreds.
Who loves you this much? Who loves you this much that they're buying you ice cream makers?
I know, right?
They know I love ice cream. You know,
you need to put some better things on your list, since people are just buying you whatever. Just next time, put like Bugatti, 10-room house. Like, just put whatever you want there. You never know which other sugar daddies out there.
How many blesses? Yeah, how many blesses are on your birthday list?
Excuse me.
She sips water.
All right. I'm with Cabello. Simphiwe, buy it for yourself to avoid disappointment. That's exactly right.
Yeah, but that's one item out of 26 things. You know what I mean? So
Tracy's comment is, no, you don't do that. Serious diva queen vibes. No, man.
No, we believe in you, Simphiwe. I say good. You just need to put more expensive things on the list so you can get more. You know, next time, don't buy your Mini Cooper. Just put the latest Mini Cooper there, then it'll come to you. I'm telling you.
No, well, I mean, a great gift for that Mini would be a full tank, guys. I'm just saying, like, if you just a full tank, and I'll be happy. But you know, with that said, if you guys do endorse my birthday list, that means I'm gonna send it to y'all as well, right? You do understand? That's part of the.
I want to be on the record. I do not endorse your birthday.
I do not endorse. I do not approve this message.
Yes. I'm deleting this message from my phone. I did not receive this. But
No, it's too much pressure, Simphiwe.
Audrey says, Simphiwe, I still have a birthday list. My family and partner always ask me what I want for my birthday. So there's a list now. Only send when asked. That's okay. I've got someone in our family who she decides what she wants. And the rest of us, we don't get to have any creative input. Now, I do not like giving a gift just because it's something someone likes. I like also thinking about what I would like to give them. And I know that's maybe some people think that's annoying because then you sometimes get things that you didn't really want. But it's not about what you want. It's about people giving you something that they want to give you. But I'm not going to argue with Simphiwe first thing in the morning because then...
No, and also I do think that it's important to let the people be free in what they choose to give you because then you'll find out whether they really know you or like you. It's like, oh, you got me socks with macaroni pasted over them. You obviously don't give a shit about me. So this friendship is over. You know, you need to know where you stand with people, and gift giving time is the perfect way to know if these people are really listening when you speak, you know?
Yeah, well, listen, there's consternation. A lot of people agreeing that this is the way to do it. You should have a wish list and people should do their best to do this and get you what you want. But some people are saying, like here, Jim says the entitlement is astounding. I've never heard of this before.
You know what? See, people just don't like to see somebody who knows what they want. Everybody else is confused. You know what you want. You've got standards, and now they're upset because they don't. SIM card has rich friends. Yes, please put me as part of your friends, Simphiwe. I'll get you.
But that means you also get the list when you
okay,
the friendship group.
okay. Full tank coming up when the petrol price drops.
Here's a good question from Chinchilla. Do you reciprocate? So if they do this for you, do you do that for other people for their birthdays?
Yes. So I have like a friend of mine who every year gets me a gift that's really, really like amazing. And over the years, as we've gotten a bit more money, the gifts have gotten a bit more lavish because that's our kind of friendship. But I also have friends that like, I look at it like this because my birthday is like one of the first birthdays in my friendship circle. If you get me a gift, I take note of that, and then I try get you something that you would also appreciate. So in my gift giving, I'd be like, what would Gareth appreciate the most? Okay, he did mention that he'd like XYZ, and then I'll try get it. Doesn't matter how well it doesn't matter. It does matter how expensive it is, but it also matters how close we are and that quality of friendship. Because I'm willing to go that extra mile to say, hey, I appreciate you, and here's a great gift that I think you would like.
So what goes around comes around.
Yes, but I like making people's lives easier because I really don't like receiving things I don't want. Like, why are you getting me a pair of socks? I don't need socks. No.
Okay,
I don't need that.
Wait.
So get me something like a book.
How do you feel about getting gifts for somebody who you didn't get a gift for? Because that happened to me on Christmas, and it was hella awkward. It's like, oh, thanks so much. Yes,
that is tough.
My love. You know, maybe
situation.
somebody you weren't expecting a gift from, but they gave one to you. Like, and it's almost harder giving them a gift back afterwards or post the date because now they know you fucked up. They're like, oh, okay, now you're just getting it to me out of guilt. I don't know if that's ever happened to you guys, but I felt horrible, man.
Oh, all right, I think that happens with my family, but with my friends, no. They kind of know. I don't get you a gift. Or
yeah, you love me more than I love you. Whatever. That's okay. It's understandable.
All right, listen, it's time for us to check in on what's going on with cryptocurrencies this morning. And as usual, we get some interesting developments and updates that we need on them. There's a lot to get into. Brett Hope Robertson, who's the head of investments at Revix.com, is here to tell us all about it. Hey, Brett, how you doing, man?
Good in yourself, man. Thanks for having me on.
Good to see you early in the morning. There's no such thing as a trading window for Bitcoin. Bitcoin moves day and night, weekdays, weekends. So what are the latest movements? And give us an update, because some people are getting a little bit nervous with the ups and downs at the moment. As usual, people are jumpy because they think that every dip is the big dip, and they think that every crest is the biggest one. People are cashing out. People are buying more. What would you characterize all of this activity in the last couple of days as being?
Yeah, look, I feel like every time I'm on here, I'm the bearer of bad news with crypto. It seems to be a trend, but I mean, to be honest with you, it's been the kind of same trend for the last few months now, really. You know, our biggest tail risk was Russia and Ukraine, and that seems to be escalating. So you're seeing risk-off assets around the world kind of price that in and go, well, if there is a impending war or something coming, the natural instinct of many investors is to pull out of risky assets and hold on to cash.
Right.
And we're kind of seeing that kind of happen around the world. It's not just crypto, it's tech stocks, it's any kind of growth area people are getting a bit worried. Then there's also, obviously, we had higher than expected inflation came out in the US. That's another area of concern, because then obviously interest rate hikes will start to come through, which kind of contracts the market even more. And obviously US is also dealing with their supply chain issues. So these kind of things are all kind of coming together. And unfortunately, Ukraine and Russia did escalate over the last few days. So I think that's kind of your main driver that you're seeing. But, historically, anything under 30% dips in crypto has been a great buying opportunity. It depends on your time frame, right? If you're a trader, you're looking very differently at this asset class than others, and you would have probably taken money off the table and waiting for a bottom and waiting for it to turn. If you're a long-term investor, you're kind of licking your lips here and adding.
Well, this is an important point too, is that there was I think we hit 36,000 Rand a Bitcoin a little earlier this week, but it's gone back up to 38 or something right now. It did get all the way up to about 45 the other day too. So it's in a huge range at the moment. And that's exciting. I mean, listen, if you're not putting all your life savings in there, then it is exciting and it can be very, very much part of the fun. But if it's everything you have, which, again, we're not here to dispense financial advice, then you get supremely nervous. People also need to know that it is this long-term thing. You've said it, Sean said it. We've spoken to Chris as well. He said it. So stay in. The long game is still looking very positive. And obviously, people who are worried about inflation in the US, if people who are concerned about central banks, these are the guys who are trying to control your money. And crypto is a different thing. There's no one trying to control your crypto. It goes whichever way the market dictates. And some people would rather trust that than governments.
And you've actually kind of seen that happen with this Canadian trucker issue right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they've just decided to, enforce law that they can kind of freeze accounts. And anyone who's kind of donated to this trucker movement is getting their account frozen. I mean, that's
right.
If that's not a play to cryptocurrencies, and actually probably quite a good advocate to say, look, I mean, the government can turn around and just freeze your accounts right now.
All right, so I've got two serious questions for you and one stupid question for you. We'll start with the serious ones. What is a stable coin, and what do we need to know about stable coins?
Yeah, so look, stable coins are basically simply they're cryptocurrencies that are pegged to the value of another asset. So normally we see them as pegged to government-backed fiat, so rands or dollars.
If a stable coin is tethered to the dollar, that means that it moves wherever the dollar moves.
Yeah, a 1-to-1 ratio, $1 to $1, for example, right?
All right.
And you get kind of three different types. So you get fiat collateralized stablecoins, which means basically it's collateralized 1-to-1 with the actual fiat currency itself. So that would be something like Tether or USDC or Gemini dollar. And these kind of stablecoins amassed huge hype over the recent future, maybe the last 3 years, because it kind of makes sense. It's a place to kind of take profits for a lot of market participants into an asset and a unit of account that's still very familiar with them. And then you kind of got these other backed stable coins. You got commodity backed stable coins, which are things like Pax Gold, which basically track the price of gold and are collateralized by gold. And then you got things like crypto backed stable coins. So these are something called MakerDAO, which basically has a stable coin called DAI. And that, again, is pegged to the US dollar 1-to-1, so it is worth $1. But instead of it being collateralized by fiat, it's collateralized by Ethereum. And then we kind of move on to these things called algorithmic stablecoins. And that's like kind of the new age of a stablecoin.
What are those?
So these guys, they sound very complicated, and they use the word algorithmic to make you quite confused. But basically, the idea behind it is, so let's go back even a step. Terra Luna is the biggest one so far, and basically it's a smart contract cryptocurrency that's basically focusing, unlike ETH or Ethereum, it's focusing on payments and financial services.
Okay.
So you would compare it, if you had to look at it.
If I simplify that in my mind, it's linked to the application of the coin.
Yeah, so if you had to look at it like a company, for example, you would think it's a mixture between like an FNB and a Visa. It's like a payment rail mixed with a bank.
Okay.
And basically what they're trying to do is make it really easy to spend, save, trade, and exchange their stablecoin instantly, right? And how this algorithmic part of it works is basically if you wanted to create $1 worth of their stablecoin, say it's a US dollar, so you want to create $1 US worth of their stablecoin, you could go onto their protocol, and their protocol allows their Luna, which is their native token of their protocol, to be convertible $1 to $1 with their stablecoin. So Gareth, if you wanted to go on and create $1 worth of their stablecoin, you would just go onto the protocol and you would simply sell $1 worth of their Luna token to them, and they would create you $1 worth of the US dollar stablecoin. And that's simply how it works.
Well, you say simply, but something tells me I'm going to have to listen to this again and then try and figure it out. That does not sound easy to understand, but I'm going to take exactly what you said, and I will re-listen to it so that I can be clear. So those were my two serious questions. The stupid question, and it's something that a lot of people are asking, is where is Sanders? Where is Sean Sanders? People are asking what happened to him. Since crypto slumped, he's disappeared. Where's he gone?
He's a busy man, huh?
Man. Too busy for us?
No, never. I think he's never liked to be the bearer of bad news when crypto comes around. He's always so he leaves it onto the rest of us to come and give you the truth.
There's the real story, is that he doesn't want to face us when the prices are bad, so he just sends you guys. Poor you. You have to come in here and give us.
I think when Bitcoin gets above 60,000, you might see him pop back on again.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's going to. Ultimately, things are going to go up. So, I mean, I'm excited about what's happening here, and it's always good to get an update. Thank you very much, Brett. Good to see you, dude.
Sure thing, man. Enjoy, guys.
There's Brett Hope Robertson from Revix.com, and a little update on what's going on in the world of crypto and some complicated definitions, but we need to know what things like algorithmic stable coins are if we're going to take this stuff seriously. Some mornings we talk about stuff that's pretty straightforward with Revix. Other days it's a lot more complicated. I will admit.
Other days it's higher grade maths.
Yes, exactly.
Not everybody can do it.
That's correct. All right, so there we go. Lots of comments on all the crypto stuff that's going on too. We'll get to those in a short while. We've got Mark Mdluli here. If you can cast your mind back to those first 3 or 4 years at CliffCentral, and Mark Mdluli, who was a part of our family from the get-go, him along with Simphiwe this morning, who has a gift registry for every birthday. She's very important, and if you don't buy her the gift that she wants, you're in big trouble. Would you like some Bitcoin, maybe? Would you like that?
I would love that. Okay, that I should actually put that on my birthday list. That's a good one, Gareth.
we need to get in this future game, this Bitcoin game, this NFT game, this metaverse game. I don't know anything about it, but I feel like we're gonna lose out if we don't hop on right now.
Dude, I'm already gonna sign up to do a whole like NFT course to learn how to do NFTs, because I promise you, that's where the money's at as well.
You're doing it.
I saw it on TikTok and I was like, I'm definitely doing it.
You saw Snoop Dogg do it and you're like, I'm Snoop Dogg's doing it. I can do it.
We had 2 experts on Monday talking about how these NFTs work and all the rest. I mean, listen, again, I will admit I got maybe half of it in my head. The rest, I'm still confused. But if Simphiwe gets in there quickly enough, she might be able to make us all rich. So go, Simphiwe, go.
Go. I'm not interested, to be honest with you. You know, everybody says it's the most important thing to come out, but it's like social media to me. I was like, okay, yes, it is really important, but as important as it is, I still don't give a shit about it. You know, like I still struggle to post and to advertise myself on all these platforms, even though it's so important. I genuinely think there's so much to be interested about in the actual world that is physically in front of us. It's like that other shit is just, you add an extra pressure. The real world is hard enough already. Now I must go deal with your animated monkeys. No,
Here I am drinking the water that might have typhoid in it, and we're worried about.
You know what I mean? And I must be worried about LFTs. No, get out of here, man.
Justin Nell says everyone should now have Jick on their birthday list, and Steve E says antibiotics are a good gift. Yes, absolutely.
What?
Thank you
How
again.
is
Good
that?
advice. Well, again, you need antibiotics if you've got typhoid. So that's helpful.
I see. It's a good gift for the hypochondriacs out there.
For sure. Hey, listen, all this talk about Russia and the Ukraine. We're still waiting. I mean, did Vladimir Putin have an important appointment with his dentist that he couldn't move? That he's making us wait for this invasion? Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? I want to know.
No, I like the threat of it. You know, it's so passive aggressive. It's like we're just gonna put all our troops here. No, we're not doing anything. But yeah, they're here just in case. You know,
he's just like one mistake.
He's like an angry woman. You know, like just you've crossed the line now. One more time, you're skating on thin ice. That's what he's rolling on.
I love these stories because these stories make me feel like, you know, that what we're doing is really helpful to people. Listen to Cindy's story here. We talk about crypto all the time. She says, Gareth, I remember I heard about Bitcoin from your show 6 years ago. I invested part of my bonus and I cashed out 3 million 4 years later.
Cindy, can I be your friend?
Gareth, you're making millionaires out here, boy.
Cindy,
I wish I was.
Where you at,
I wish
girl?
I was. Holy shit, Cindy. Well done.
Wow, that's incredible.
She still has 2
I hope
coins.
your family doesn't know, hey?
She's just exposed herself now.
Yeah, that's like winning the lottery. You don't tell anybody.
It's basically a myth. It's like it happens every once in a while. I wonder how often this success story happens, to be honest.
Wow.
I really want to know because maybe we're missing out.
What happens in that moment when you like open up your app and you see, shucks, okay, 3 million, I'm gonna, you know, cash it out. And then then you go back to the office, right? You go back, you're trying to keep cool, and then something or someone irritates you and you're just like, I don't need this. Like, I have 3 meter in the bank. Like, who are you? Like,
I'm out of here, bro.
What's going through your mind? Like,
someone said to you,
what's this?
why didn't you do this? Where's that report I asked you for from last week? And if it isn't in by today, you're in big trouble. You're like, hold on a second.
Hold on. Let me just check my bag.
As per my last email, I'm out.
See, that's that Putin passive aggressiveness. As per my last. I hope this finds you well, but you're a bitch. You know, like
oh, here's
that passive aggressiveness.
It's a very nice compliment for you, Mark Mdluli. Dear Linda says this young man has a really beautiful voice.
Oh, thank you so much, dear Linda. I wish what was coming out of it was even better, but I guess I'll take the voice. Yeah.
The brain's
the brain's a bit
it's free, but the voice is good.
The way it sounds is fine, but everything else. Thank you very much, dear Linda.
Hey, it is Wednesday. That means Beyond Madness today. Substance abuse and psychiatry. Now, this is a really interesting subject, and as you know, Professor Christopher Paul Szabo is one of the foremost experts in a number of psychiatric subjects. And today he's going to be talking with Dr. Shakir Salduka, and they will talk about the importance of substance misuse and how it impacts on mental wellness. This is probably something that affects a lot more people than we think. If you think about how many people are on antidepressants, you think about how many people are taking psychiatric medicine and they're getting, they may be doing too much of it. They may be not following the prescriptions. Maybe they drop off their medicine and they come back on. That's a kind of misuse too. And if you are interested in this, do not miss our series called Beyond Madness. Today, they're talking about substance abuse and psychiatry with Professor Christopher Paul Szabo and Dr. Shakir Salduka. Today, very, very cool episode. Make sure you don't miss it. Catch Beyond Madness on CliffCentral live this morning at 11 a.m. or get the podcast wherever you listen. That's on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or on the CliffCentral app. Go and take a look today.
Yeah.
Cool. Very, very good. So Sanele says, hi, Cindy, who, of course, cashed out the 3 million. Have I ever told you how beautiful you are?
She's absolutely gorgeous, right?
Yeah, I know,
Oh,
right?
have you
Cindy,
seen her?
Cindy,
Oh,
will
my
you
word.
marry me? Will you marry me, Cindy? I'll skip right straight
No.
to it.
Cindy, I just need like 50,000. My enemies are after me.
Cheryl said, Cindy, it's my birthday around the corner. And Cindy replies straight away. She goes, congratulations, Cheryl. I don't think that's what she was going for there, Cindy, but well done. Well done. All right.
I don't think she should have told us. I don't think so. Because now we know. Cindy R.
Now we know
Hey,
Cindy
girl.
was coming for you.
Yeah. Cindy, you shouldn't have told us. Sorry. I mean, people, we can't trust anyone on this show, so now you know.
At least you didn't give us her full surname, because I was gonna Facebook her right now. I'd be like, yeah.
No, but all we
What's
need
up,
is a
Cindy?
name with the R. There's
With the
a
R.
purple thing with the C. You just check that. Hey, like, you know.
There are ways, especially as you, Simphiwe. You guys are investigators. Ladies know how to do it.
So listen,
I'm just saying.
we got to take a quick break. It is 7 o'clock. We'll be back in a moment or two. Mark Mdluli is with us, Simphiwe Mtetwa, me, you, and everybody else. Let's chat in a moment. CliffCentral.com. It is Wednesday. Do you suffer from collectivism?
I started collecting when I was about 8 years old.
Do you have an obsession with objects?
I sort of got into collecting TV cars.
Are you a fanatic? A devotee? Are you someone exhibiting enthusiasm or strong passion?
When lockdown hit, when everyone was kind of bored at home, they started Googling, like, what are these things worth these days?
Cliff Central dispenses a weekly dose of Collectomania. Join me as I talk to compulsive collectors. Fascinating.
The frame's total value is probably about 12,000 Rand.
Possibly a little weird.
I developed this infatuation with the Statue of Liberty.
Collectomania, Mondays on the Gareth Cliff Show. Brought to you by SA Gold Coin Exchange and The Scoin Shop.
Do you want to replace your glass half empty mentality with a glass half full mindset? I'm Barrett Edelstein, and I present the Optimal Optimism podcast here on CliffCentral.com. Be empowered with practical tools around body, mind, food, exercise, and more to create a positive and abundant life. The Optimal Optimism podcast is made active by Virgin Active.
This week on the Auto Trader podcast.
I think just the fact that it's electric, compared to the ICE cars that we're so used to, it's totally different.
Yeah,
different car, different engineering. Driving a battery car, it's so different. You get instantaneous power, you get a lot of power. It's very quick off the mark. So I think you have to experience it, because you can hear about it, you can read about it, until you drive it. Until you get that smile on your face. It's
and literally you haven't stopped smiling since you walked in. It's insane.
Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
That's right, cliffcentral.com, just after 7 o'clock, Wednesday, the 23rd of February. Mark Mdluli is here along with Simphiwe Mtetwa and me and you. We've got lots to talk about this morning, and we'll get to some of those things in a moment. I'll give you an update from Bulelo, who is in, I think I must just check where he is. He sent me a message this morning with a little video, which I'll show you as well. He's at the NBA. Looks pretty damn cool. So he is at the He's at Kansas University versus Kansas State at the University of Kansas. So the Jayhawks. You want to see a little bit of the NBA game that they're playing over there now?
For
college
sure.
College basketball team. pretty wild. That is the stadium, and there are like thousands of people there. They put a jumbotron in the middle. Beautiful screens. There's the court. Nobody's really watching the game. Nobody's watching the jumbotron. It's awesome. And that is the latest update from Mdluli, who looks like he's having the best time. The cheerleaders in the stands, you see that? Like proper college stuff going on. And it's massive. I mean, that's just an example of what they do in American universities. It's huge. And there's so much money in the sport.
It always surprises me how much support college, even high school sports gets in America. That's not something you'll get here. At our cricket games, it's only Jason's mom supporting him with an NHA. And we always say, you did pretty well today, didn't you, mom? But there, it's busy all the time. It's legitimately professional at college level.
You did very well, mom.
You did very well, mom.
There you go, like 100 cheerleaders on every team. The stands are full up to the rafters. They're in stadiums. They've got this massive screen that is 4 ways around the stadium. People are like getting the cam zooming in on them if they're in the crowd. There's games going on. And I'm not talking about the game on the court. I'm talking about, in the crowd. There's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
There's food. There's drink. There's a party afterwards. And this is in Kansas, okay, Kansas is not the biggest state in America. And the people in Kansas are not the richest people in America. But look at that support. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's unbelievable to me. It's no
and
wonder
also,
why...
did you see how packed it was like during the week? Because this is not a weekend thing. This is like weekday activities and they all out supporting. It's packed. I was just like, wow. Also, sidebar, there were so many white people. I was just like, wow. Like I was taken aback.
Don't be taken. White people like watching basketball because they're like, look at them go.
Like, okay.
I mean,
you guys came out. Shout out.
Both the NBA and the NFL there are a lot more black players. Like, remember, black people make up like 13, maybe 14% of the US population. But in NFL and NBA sport, they are like 60% of the players. So, and everybody loves watching that stuff. I mean, Americans support sport like Mark was saying earlier. It's a whole different universe. It's completely unlike anything we have here. I mean, I see someone said here that Steph says it's like Wits versus UCT. No, it is not. Wits versus UCT is like a couple of hundred people.
But that's how big it is for us. I mean, I kind of get it. It's like when the derby's on and it's Orlando Pirates versus KZ Chiefs. Everybody's out. Who do you support? Like, that's the biggest thing for South Africans. And then you hear the guys that are in the big leagues, and you're like, there's the UEFA, there's this, there's that, and you just see how much people come out and support their teams, and you're like, we playing here in South Africa?
Remember,
we play.
like all those examples that you just gave now those are professional sport leagues, right? We're talking about college. We're talking about universities, and you saw how big that crowd was. It's phenomenal. Okay, so Simphiwe has an embarrassing obsession. I mentioned a while ago I'm into these pneumatic press videos where they squash shit. You know those videos? So they put like a box of tissues or a toy, or they put like glasses, or they put something under the pneumatic press, and then it squashes shit. And you just watch. I mean, I could watch that stuff for
it's just satisfying for some reason.
Right. Absolutely. And I sometimes you see those videos where they blow shit up, or they destroy something, or they open something carefully. Like it could be a box, or it could be some kind of contraption, and they go through this painstaking process of opening it up or converting it or changing it. Now, Simphiwe has found a new obsession for herself, and she's going to embarrassingly share this one with us today. So what's your new one, Simphiwe?
So I'm with you in what you just said, Gareth. You and I in the same WhatsApp group. I also enjoy watching those. And I think it's just kind of taken a bit of a extra step in my addiction. It is chalk crushing. I literally just watch people crush chalk. Like, they just
Have you seen those ones with the you know those balls, those fizzy balls that you put in the bath?
Oh yes.
And what do they squeeze them?
Bath bombs.
So they sometimes they'll take a very sharp blade and just like
they go
scrape it so that the powder comes off, and it looks. I mean, this is so stupid. I can't believe we do this, but I totally understand why you're doing this. So here's an example of the chalk crushing, so you can get some idea of what Simphiwe is into here. Because you might be as well, and then you can stop like ridiculing those of us who watch this stupid shit. All right, here it is. Watch. Ooh, that's nice. Crush that chalk into powder. And listen to the sound. It's important to have the sound as well, right? All right,
I wonder what that is like
Yes.
psychologically. What is it about human beings that enjoy that?
It's so satisfying.
It's bizarre. Yeah.
It's I watched that for hours. Like there's so many videos on that. Like you saw one with the hearts. There's even one with like white chalk, and it's the blocks. Then there's like different shapes and different sizes, and then some of them are like super soft, so it's like and then it's hard like
but there's something also about
I absolutely love it. Like
because chalk does make a noise when you crush it as well. So that's probably part of the reason that chalk works so well. I've seen them do makeup products as well. Like they'll take a lipstick and squash it under a hydraulic press, and then it all squashes out on the sides. I don't know why, but
I wonder what it is. It's like bubble wrap. It's like, what is this fascination?
You just get into it.
What
and
is
you just
this sensation that we're obsessed with? I don't even know.
Maybe we're crazy.
Are we
Maybe
human
we
or
are.
are we dancer?
But I can once I see one of those on my TL, it's done. I'm going to be scrolling like, okay. Until somebody's like, Sims, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's get back to it. Because they're so addictive. And they're like very short. I don't know. But guys, please don't judge me. That's my latest obsession. That's what I watch when I'm on Instagram, like just seeing people. And then you can even see the different techniques because some of them put them in water and some. It's so entertaining. All of it is entertaining. Like I'm like, whoa.
So Congo Chris says that is some very aggressive ASMR. Well, there's more. I mean, Heine's talking about something. I don't know about this. Maybe you can help me understand this. I like ASMR barbershop videos. Then I also like going to the barbershop. Is that like you just watch the cutting of hair and like how does that work?
So like you hear the
that would be good. That would be good. There's nothing like getting a haircut. That's also
but hearing it. What's so okay? You know what? Let me not judge because I don't want you to.
Yeah, you can't.
I can already feel my spirit. I'm like, hey. What about that?
Agreed. Talk it up to craziness. Thank you, Carl. Very nice. Vanilla says, though, things like chalk and bubble wrap are probably the only things that keep the rest of us from becoming serial killers.
I think that's what it is. I genuinely think it's that sensation of killing, suppressing, squeezing out that you can't really get from doing.
Why are you guys making this?
Beings.
No,
we're making it.
No, it has to be. No, it has to be
psychological.
It has to be psychological. Think about it. There's something happening internally that makes you really enjoy that.
And your first thing is killing. Like you thinking you're just calming. Like
maybe,
no, that's crazy. No,
why when we're angry we bash things and we break things against the wall. Like just looking at it objectively, that's ridiculous. But there's something about that sensation about destroying, the sensation of destroying. Yes, I think that's something to be.
Maybe we are a little. We're all a little on the edge, but I can see you getting uncomfortable, Simphiwe, because to you it's just a fun thing to do. It's not like you are, addicted to it or there's some kind of problem.
Yeah, it's making me it's making me like just be like, okay, girl, what's wrong with you? Are you really maybe deep down you just might want to kill Mark Mdluli right now because he's just like on your nerves and you're like, okay, let me watch this like.
No. It's similar to like murder mystery. I've been watching a lot of murder mystery lately, and it's like, and it's like, what is this obsession with this killing that we don't understand, or this other side of the world where people genuinely do it and they can't even avoid it? It's something deep down inside them that they can't stop doing. It's like, what is that about the human mind?
I've spoken about this before. I can't watch these true crime things. To me, I'd rather watch a monster movie or a like scary documentary about something else. But these people who watch that crime channel all the time, I'm very suspicious of them. I think they may be trying to figure out how to do like the most foolproof murder, and it makes me nervous.
I'd get away with it. Like, to be honest, I watch it with my girlfriend. I'll be lying there. I'm like, oh, she gonna kill me. One day she gonna kill me. And nobody's gonna know because she knows how to do it so well after watching so many episodes.
I enjoy watching those true crime. I think in South Africa, it definitely gives me a bit of confidence to say I could make your murder look like an accident. But also just to kind of protect myself, to also be able to be the first one to be like, this tea doesn't taste too good. Okay, maybe there's something in it. I'm not feeling too well now. It's been 3 weeks. My boyfriend's trying to poison me. I'm out. Just say.
So here's Sharon. She is obsessed with acrylic paint pouring. So they open the paint can and then they pour that paint, and it comes down in that beautiful stream, and then it lands and it makes those patterns. I mean, that's pretty amazing too. Have you ever seen those videos where they mix paints and you see like the swirl of the different colors in the paint can? That is amazing too. So we're all everybody's got their thing.
Everybody's got a thing.
When they're bored at the office or they're bored at home, they hop on their phone and they like watch things like that. Listen, it's better than watching like snuff films or porn. So you go ahead and watch that, right?
Yeah, at least it's something you can watch openly in the office.
Yeah. You won't get fired. You won't get fired for watching this. Ethan says, I think it's similar to scrolling on your phone. Maybe it touches us on some evolutionary level where we found our love for opposable thumbs. That may be something. It may be something.
I agree with that. I agree with that because oftentimes I find myself scrolling on my phone, even though I'm not really looking at anything. It's just like that motion that I'm so used to now. Just be like, oh, what was I doing? But I've been scrolling the entire time.
You do know that they've actually, all the companies that like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, they've basically got a department of people who are looking at how to keep you addicted to your phone. That's what they do.
Done.
It's part of what they do. So
Have you not watched the Social Dilemma?
Yeah, of course.
They basically unpack how social media is. Their goal is to make you stay there longer and longer and longer. So this is why the algorithm is so good at what it does, because it personalizes everyone's TLs, like timelines. So if I enjoy watching those kind of videos, best believe I'll see more of that. And if you enjoy watching people do makeup, you're going to see more makeup people and more makeup that, because when you start seeing content that you actually like, you are going to stay on longer and longer and longer. So it's definitely like, it's in their agenda.
Plan, it's thought out.
Every year, how do we make people stay here a bit longer?
You never reach the bottom here. There's always more. There's always more videos. There's always more Instagram stories. There's always more. You never get to the end. You never go, I've finished Instagram for today. I can put it away now. That never happens.
No,
you know what's funny? I think Instagram at one point had you've all caught up, and you're like, oh shucks, I think I should leave the app now. And I think now they've removed that feature. Like you just keep on.
Now they just suggest like, more pages similar to the ones you like.
Yoga. Here's David. David says that I love those time-lapse videos of people tearing down, cleaning, and then rebuilding cars and bikes. I could watch that forever. Mm-hmm. There are also those craft videos, which I've got into sometimes, where people will make something out of paper, or they'll make something out of like pencil shavings, or they make these incredible things, and it's really beautiful. And it normally lasts like a minute or two, and it's also time lapse where they show you how they build something out of like an old book or out of a shoelace or something, and they make these incredible things that either look beautiful or actually perform a function. They perform a purpose. Also, I love, and I know this is something we've gone over before, so I won't spend any time on it now, but I love those cleaning videos. Yes. I love when they show you how to clean your coffee machine, or how to clean your cups better, and what to put in the fridge to make sure it smells nice when you open the door, and that kind of shit. I love that.
That's
stuff.
The perfect time to take out your Jeek, ladies and gentlemen.
Put it on the list, bro.
Just saying, perfect time. But yeah, the cleaning videos also have me on a wow, this is great. And then you just see how people do it differently from you. Like I'd like to think I'm a clean person and I keep my space clean, but there's something so cool about seeing somebody just go that extra mile and you're like, oh, okay. Like I don't know, I could soak it like this. And then they make it look extra pretty. Oh no, man.
I like the life hack videos. Like how to make sure your sponge doesn't absorb all the shit from the washing or whatever. Like, but I never use any of the life hacks that I learned. I've never used a single one that I know, but I'm like, one day I'll know how to hack this.
I use them. I put them on. I put them in lists. So I've got a whole bunch of lists on my phone, and then I store these things. Whether I actually use them or not, it's a whole different story. But I do get around to some of them. And I must tell you, it's really satisfying when you've learned something. You haven't just got some dumb life hack video off of wherever, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever you're doing. But I use it, and then I'm like, I've got a secret that no one else knows. Amazing. Did you guys notice the sunset last night? It's not normally something I'd bring up on the show.
So
did you see the sunset?
I didn't, but all my people were posting about it. It looked absolutely amazing. Like, what?
It really did. Like, I'm a sucker for sunsets, so all of them look amazing to me. But I was on my way to a show yesterday, and I looked at it and I was like, no, there's something about the sky today. It was incredible. But I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know it was a trending topic.
So yesterday was especially weird because there was quite a lot of cloud, but the sun was orange, and it seemed to me like it was light for a very long time. I mean, I looked outside and I was like, what is that weird light? It was almost like there was a big filter on the sun. I mean, that's essentially what it is when the clouds cover the sun. But I tried to capture it. And obviously, a photo never does this justice. But I put this up on my Instagram yesterday. So I'll show you two versions of it just to show you what the sky looked like at my house at 7 o'clock last night. Look at this.
Ooh.
That's the dark version. It's so ominous, right? And then, I tried to change it up a little bit so you could get more of the color. Look at that. That's pretty spectacular. It's pink and orange and light blue. It's just beautiful. And I wish, because there was just me at home, so there's no one I could share this with. So I thought, let me put this on Instagram. But I saw some people who did much better photos. And I'm not a photographer, so I'm not going to claim that I did anything special there. But some people took amazing and beautiful pictures. And I almost wish that we had advice from a photographer on how to do better sunset pictures. Because if you get them right, it's magnificent.
For me, what I enjoy about that is the genuine beauty of life. I hate to be cheesy like that, but oftentimes it's so difficult to find goodness in the world or happiness and joy. But looking at something like that just makes you know that there is beauty. It's right there in your face. It's unavoidable and it's just true. So things like that always excite me, man. That's really, really beautiful.
It is pretty amazing. Snaye says, and this is an interesting point. Snaye says, my boyfriend likes to watch the chiropractor clicking people's backs. The annoying part is when he thinks he can click my back. Like, I've watched that too. I actually saw an ad. I don't know whether this is a bullshit thing or because you never know, right? I saw this ad, this thing that you lie on, and then your back goes click, 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 click. And I was like, I should really buy that because sometimes you wake up and you click your neck a little bit. But I know it's probably bullshit because it looks like some cheap thing that, it's made out of plastic and you think, how could that be good for my back? But maybe it is.
You need Verymark. You need Verymark to verify that. This is a legitimate product. If they're not advertising it like the Genesis 2000, it's not the real thing,
Here we go. You've started a thing now, Simphiwe. Congo Chris is embarrassing, but he's come in now with hey, by the way, has anybody watched that Dr. Pimple Popper channel?
Let's talk about it because
what?
Wow. I don't watch it for long periods of time, but there's something when they I was like, yeah. It's like I get all squeamish, but I watch it. I'm like, yeah, take it out. Oh, and you see it on the back. You're like, yeah, take it out. I'm like,
do you pop your own pimples?
Yes.
You know what? My sister is obsessed with that channel, and she knows the doctor and she knows what instruments that she's using because she's been watching
Yes.
it. And she's like, oh my God, you've got to watch this. It's so gross. But she can't get enough of it.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. It's like, like the effects of that is when I go to buy my toiletries, I look at the things. I'm like, okay, what instruments do I need to pop my pimples better?
Oh,
Okay,
no.
this, and you take that, and then it's almost like did I do it as good as the doctor? Oh no.
No, you know what? Ruth has admitted she's also addicted to Pimple Popper. So listen, people. Now we're getting into a space where I'm not comfortable. But let's go.
Let's get out of here.
We got 5 minutes before we do blind history, so we may as well listen. There are people on that channel. Again, I don't subscribe to it. I don't want to watch it, but then my sister will forward me these things, and I go, I just know it's going to be gross. But you can't help yourself, so you look, and then there are these people who have like cysts, like these terrible, revolting cysts under their skin, and this doctor like removes them, but it is unbelievably revolting. It is gross. It is sick. You want to like wash your hands afterwards and brush your teeth and go and hide and like curl up in a ball and like shake because it's
like
disgusting.
when they like squeeze it
what
and you're
comes
like, oh my
out of
gosh.
people?
And then they cut it open, and then they like squeeze it, and they'll be like, and then all the pus is coming out, and it's just like, it's like, oh yeah, and it just oozes out.
Stop. All right, enough. I'm calling a moratorium on this now. This is enough.
No, that's not for me either.
Oh God. Oh no,
that's not for me either. I wonder how these people do it, man. Doctors and the like, they must see the craziest things. I don't know if as an ordinary human being I could handle seeing what doctors see.
I mean,
but that is an area of specialization. So these people learn to be specialists at like removing blackheads and cysts and pimples and all this kind of gross stuff. And that's what they do. Listen, Maynard says, ach nee man, ek gaan kots. So yeah, I agree. Let's just stop talking about that right now. That's so gross. Ugh. All right, so Mark's doing. In case you want to know what Mark is up to, he's doing a radio show on Star FM at the moment, and he's also back in the stand-up circuit. What's happening with comedy in general at the moment? Because I know that we've had Gilly up to run. We've spoken to a couple of other comedians. Is everything back to normal, or is it still a bit slow on the uptake?
You know what's happening is that comedians are starting to rebuild the industry itself because there's no legitimate industry. There are no comedy clubs that are open at the moment. Not a single one. Cape Town Comedy Club is closed. Parker's Comedy Club is closed. So what we considered the industry no longer exists. But what I am finding in comedy, and which I kind of low-key admire, is the fact that we're all doing it ourselves. We'll go to restaurants. Hopefully they are able and willing to pay us. We'll put comedians on the lineup, and there we have a show. So it's not necessarily the industry that's alive and thriving, but I think comedians are, and comedians really do want to work. So we'll do whatever we can to. Like, for instance, I was at a show last night at OTG Bar, the Off the Grid in Paulsdorf. And it is not a theater by any stretch of the imagination. It's a long hall of bar stools and chairs, and you basically talking into a vacuum. But we did a show. We genuinely put the show together. Robbie Collins was there. Morgan the Beatboxer was there. So we're trying to do it together as comedians, as opposed to being like, okay, COVID happened, there's no more comedy, online until I die. Like, I think we can't do online anymore. It's just not the same. And yeah, it's quite depressing. So
it's very hard to do comedy without a crowd in front of you.
Right? Yeah,
it's impossible.
That's the whole point. The whole point is to laugh with people. That is legitimately the entire point. So it's been difficult, but that camaraderie amongst comedians I'm really, really enjoying to see, because it's literally us. So if you don't have any friends in the industry, you're kind of screwed. Because then you don't get booked, because we're booking each other, we're hiring the venues, and we're kind of doing it for ourselves, which I'm excited to see what happens, because then at the end of the day, we are the ones who decide what the industry is going to be from here on forward.
Well, listen, dude, I can't wait for comedy to come back in all of its
Yeah,
glory.
in a
because
big way.
I miss this. I think people need to laugh more than ever, especially coming out of this really tough time that everybody's been through in the last 2 years, and we've had enough. You see that they've stopped. They've stopped masks in New York, so New York is now mask free. They've given up on that. They've also given up on masks in the UK. So it should be around the corner, unless Cyril's sleeping, which he's always shocked.
He might be.
He's probably sleeping. Unless he's shocked by all these other people suspending the masks. We've got to end this shit now. Like, he's got to do that. Let's have one last family meeting with this guy, and he can say, all right.
And be like, yo.
Enough already.
I'll put my head on the chopping block here. I'm fucking over it, dude. Let's just fucking go. I'm so
say
over
it again.
it.
I'm so over it too. Say that again. There are so many people who are with you.
Yeah, I am fucking over it, guys.
But on that note, no more family meetings. Just tweet it. Just tweet. No more masks. Everybody will get the memo. Just tweet. We're tired. We're also tired of those family meetings. I'm tired, Chief. I can't. Oh.
It gives you so much anxiety.
And a lot of people in private have already stopped wearing masks long ago. I mean, listen, I never wore masks in my house. I never wore masks when I went to other people's houses. I never wore masks when I had to go to public functions or whatever. But you still have to wear them in the shop, and we can stop that now. It's enough already. Just can the whole goddamn thing and let's move on with our lives. Thank you.
Yeah, but a lot of places are getting over it though. Like, I've walked in a few places without my mask, and before you'd get the security guard whose job depended on telling you to put your mask on. Hey, your mask.
Yeah, mask man. I call them the mask Nazis.
The mask Nazis, yeah, there were plenty of those once upon a time. Now it's just like, I guess it's over. After Omicron, we're not scared anymore.
Yeah, Maynard says we are hurtful, Chief. Yep, I agree.
100%, dude. It's
Steve
been
says,
too long.
Masks will stay. How else would the guys at the shop doors earn a living? Well, they can go back to what they were doing before. You know, there was that woman from The View, Joy Behar. Do you know who she is?
No.
You know who Joy Behar is? I'll get you a picture of her. But she was on the show the other day. She's like, I think I'm just going to keep. Well, that's how she sounds. She goes,
I know who she is now, just from the voice.
I think I'm just going to keep wearing masks forever. I'm just never going to stop wearing masks.
Do you?
I think there are those people.
Do you?
I think there are those people who will never stop wearing masks.
The majority of us are out.
Well, here's what she looks like. And she's like, whenever I get on the subway, whenever I'm in public, I'm just going to make sure I'm still wearing the mask. She's so revolting.
No, I want my immune system to be strong. Spit on me, dog. In my mouth, even.
Oh.
I want to be strong. I want to be strong. I want to be everything.
The only thing that needs to stay is the social distancing. Okay, I'm
Okay.
great. I'm happy with the fact that like people are not on my back, breathing in my ear. That's the only thing that needs to stay. Other than that, guys, no, the curfew is gone. Hey,
listen,
the mask needs to go. Hey.
If you are like Joy Behar and you do think that there she is. If you think that you do want to carry on wearing masks forever, you do that. Go ahead, but don't tell the rest of us to do it. Okay, you're not allowed to do that. So if you're still scared and you think the mask still protects you, which we've pretty much found out it doesn't, but if you still believe in that voodoo, if that's still your hocus pocus bullshit that you're into, carry on wearing the mask. No one's going to stop you, but do not force the rest of us who've moved on with our lives to go backwards and have to do this stupid play acting that you're into. It's your thing.
No, do you know what I think it is? It's the people who need to hide their faces, but the not so pretty ones. They're like, okay, I've got my Louis Vuitton mask, therefore I'm pretty underneath this.
They're still going to mac on you even with that mask on. So whether you're pretty or not pretty, just know you're still gonna get harassed. So hey, man, do you?
Might as well just expose yourself on the gate.
Have you noticed that for a lot of people this has been great because they haven't really, let's say they haven't been doing a good skin routine, or they haven't been brushing their teeth, or they don't care what they look like when they go out because they've got the mask on most of their face, so they just don't bother. No makeup. If you're a girl, if you're a guy, you're like, let a beard grow out, but in patchy, fucking ugly, nasty patterns. There's been like mask excuse for
mask
2 years.
excuse is a.
For a good
It's
2
a great
years.
way to. It's a great way to not speak to anybody else. Though. It's like.
Yeah, I'd like to take this moment to just admit that I've been one of those people. I'm not proud of those moments, you know. But the mask did come in handy when I either didn't want to talk to someone or I realized that, you know what, I need a packet of gum because the breath ain't smelling too good, and you just like, oops, and you don't talk to anybody. And what's even great is you put the mask on and then you have sunglasses. Oh my gosh, nobody will know who you are.
Nobody knows.
No, but you can do whatever. And then you just wear a pair of like...
You may as well be in the Taliban. No one knows who
that. Yeah. And you're looking all sorts of horrible, looking all sorts of like washed out. And you're like, I don't care. Nobody knows. No one's going to see me. I'm in. I'm out of here. And I'm good to go. So yeah, I've been one of those people. You know, they say that I did let myself go at one stage, but we're taking off the masks now.
So now it's back to applying that base. Back to shaving every day.
Nico says, I cannot wait to see ladies' faces again in the shops or in the malls. It's been dreadful. You can't hit on any of them because you don't know what you're in for.
That's so true, though. It's like, your eyes are beautiful, but what else, though? What else is happening? How's that nose looking, though? How are those lips looking? Are they those lace lips, or are they full-bodied?
Witch's nose under that mask.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Teeth falling out. It's like, oh, no. I made a mistake here.
All right, listen, it is time for our latest episode of Blind History this morning. Ooh, this is a good one, especially if you like the bad people in history. So Blind History, obviously, every single week we bring you an episode about someone, and sometimes it's people who you might want to hear about, heroes, people who did amazing things in their life. Sometimes it's terrible, bad, evil, nasty people who you don't necessarily want to know too much about. This one is fascinating. Her name is Elizabeth Bathory. She's from Hungary. And she might not be the most famous Hungarian in history, but once you've heard about her, you will never forget her name. A tale of sadism, torture, cruelty, and murder awaits you in this episode of Blind History. It's brought to you, of course, by Taylor Blinds and Shutters. And we want to introduce you this morning, if you've never heard of her, to somebody called Elizabeth Bathory. Are you ready? Are you in for this?
Yes, let's hear all about her.
Right. Mark, Mdluli, nice to see you, dude. We'll catch up with you again soon. It was great having you on the show. And Simphiwe will be back next Wednesday. Always good to see you. And enjoy Blind History, everybody. We will see you tomorrow, 6 a.m. bright and early.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you very much. It was awesome.
Hungary in the 1600s must have been a foreboding place. Imposing castles built high on steep mountains, surrounded by dark forests and ruled over by fearsome aristocrats. But none was more terrifying than the Blood Countess, who holds the record for being the world's most prolific female serial killer, Elizabeth Bathory. The ancient screams of her victims might still echo across the grim valleys of Transylvania, where, during her reign of terror, she tortured and killed up to 650 people. Or did she? Blind History. It is time for another episode, and I know how much people love hearing about the bad guys and the bad girls, and we've got a bad girl of all the evil proportions that you'd wished for today. It's actually somebody that Anthony found and said, we can't finish this season without bringing her in. Her name is Elizabeth Bathory, or Bathory. We're going to call her either of those. I'm not going to try and pronounce any of these Hungarian names, but what a terrifying woman. Oh my God. So where did you even first hear about her? Because until you told me about her, Ant, I didn't even know she existed.
Well, Guinness Book of Records, first of all, for the highest number of murders.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that was the one area. And also, I really enjoyed Vlad the Impaler. You know, he was a complete sadist, psychotic
maniac.
Yeah. And Bram Stoker used various people in history to put together, you know, Dracula. And it so happened that Elizabeth Bathory could have been a bigger part than old, Dracula. or Count Dracula.
Vlad.
Because, there's a lot of things that are in Dracula that she did or supposedly did that are in a lot of his stories. So that's where the interest came from.
Well, like so many stories in history, and we have to be responsible here because we're not telling mythological tales. We have to be responsible and say that history is now reevaluating the story of Elizabeth Bathory. She is supposed to have, according to legend, according to most of the historical documents that we have to look at now, she's supposed to have killed between 80 and 650 people. And by the way, not just killed them, tortured them to death. So not a pleasant story at all. What they're saying now is that her big enemy and the guy who supposedly brought her to order and incarcerated her in her own castle is a guy called Grigory Turso.
He was her cousin.
Yeah, correct. And her family were extremely powerful, and she was enormously wealthy and very, very important member of the aristocracy in Hungary. So she owned lots and lots of properties, had castles all over the place. Many, many people worked for her. She had tremendous wealth.
Extremely wealthy, extremely well connected. She was the niece of Stephen Bathory, the King of Poland. And also to have a very strong personality from a woman was unusual. And, I think that people were scared of that.
A lot of people are saying now with reflection that maybe Grigory Turso and some of the other aristocrats, including her own family, conspired to have her put away so that they could enrich themselves. And there's a lot that they're digging up now that is tending to make her look a lot less evil than history has written her down to be. So we've just got to throw that in at the start. I hate to spoil a good story, but the rest of the story from here on in is the stuff that many people will come for. So she was born into a relatively wealthy family. She was married off quite early, and she came from good stock. Her parents, though, were first cousins, and they say that may have had some influence on the fact that she may have gone a little bit crazy. And it's entirely possible that she was beautiful, but then they used to paint all noblemen and noblewomen as being really good looking, even if they were bloody ugly, as we know from many of the Habsburgs and so on.
And the Habsburgs were around by then, who were the masters of inbreeding.
That's exactly right. So she's supposed to have been a fairly normal woman for much of her life. She got married to this guy called Ferenc, and he was a member of the Nadasdi family. And the two of them seem to have got on really well. He was a warrior. He went off to fight the Ottomans. She stayed at home and managed the estates. And apparently she was quite good at that. She was a good administrator. But at some point, something happened, and the two of them always liked a little bit of sadism. Apparently they were into kind of inflicting really harsh punishment on the servant girls and that kind of thing. But when he went away to fight in battle, she made friends with someone who they now say was a witch. Anna Nadasdi, right?
Correct, yes.
So let's talk about this Anna, because she sounds like she was pretty evil, and she made a huge impact. She seems to have influenced Elizabeth at an early age, because Elizabeth was already not exactly the world's most stable human being, and she'd already caused quite a lot of pain among her servants, but she was more or less in control. I mean, nobody was going around saying, oh, don't work for her.
Ultimately, though, her and her husband did torture people. And a lot of her torture that she learned from her husband. But when you torture and kill peasants or slaves, nobody really cares.
Yeah, I mean, there were possessions in those days, so nobody really, and there were plentiful supply. And if your family made a stink about it, you just wipe the whole family out.
But she really showed some of her brutality when she was quite young, in the way she treated animals and the way she treated her servants as she was growing up. She was well educated. But yes, she was married at a very young age to the Nadasdi family and Ferenc. But just before that, she'd had a baby with a lower order man.
Yeah, some peasant from the village.
Yes, and then Nadasdi, he had the lover castrated and then torn to pieces by dogs. That sort of built the process, but it's hard to figure out when she snapped, because he was away a lot and then he died of an illness. And after that, she kicked it up, where she switched to noblewoman. And she started inviting noblewomen for lessons.
Yes. So it was probably okay if she'd carried on just killing peasants. But unfortunately for her, And maybe she was persuaded to do this by her accomplices, and there were a few of those that we'll get into in a moment. But she decided to set up a finishing school for the daughters of the nobility. So she would ostensibly be educating them on table manners and how to be elegant and walk properly and sit properly and speak properly and address people by the correct rank and precedence, what kinds of things they should do in order to attain the sort of behavior that was expected of a noblewoman. And many of the nobles thought, oh, great, we can send our daughters off here and they'll come back being refined, not knowing that this woman was planning to torture and even kill some of their daughters.
Yeah, and I think, Gareth, it was more like a finishing off school.
Well, let's just get into the torture, because before we start separating the noble women from the peasant women, I mean, she was just cruel on a whole different level. Apparently what she would do, this is obviously all part of the myth that has grown up around her, but that she would bleed young virgins and then she would bath in their blood so that she could keep herself young, and she could rub the blood into her skin in order to make herself seem more youthful and beautiful.
Also, she drank the blood. And I think Bram Stoker got that. But, there's a debate. So like you said in the beginning, we would always want to tell the truth. And this bathing in blood and drinking in blood came out 100 years later. And it's not that the people 100 years earlier were less gory. They were very gory. If they had something nice to say about gory, they would say it. But she definitely, there's no doubt in anybody's minds that some of the stuff she committed was horrific. She would cover her victims in honey and the ants would eat them, or burn them with hot tongs and then froze them, bit their breasts, bit their shoulders,
and used to beat, like smack their asses until they died from the pain. Now,
yes.
I mean, I don't know if you ever got a hiding from your father, if you ever got a hiding at school when that was still a thing that people did. But to beat someone to death like that requires a huge amount of energy. And she did have accomplices to help her, and they all seemed as bloodthirsty as she was.
Yeah, she used to take her scissors and cut between the webbing of your fingers.
Oh, my God.
So really, really crazy stuff. And the worst was when you sew your mouth closed. I mean, that's what Vlad did as well. So there was obviously something in the Hungarian, Transylvanian societies that they liked sewing the mouths closed.
My God.
But, in those days, you can sew a mouth closed of a poor peasant. Nobody raises an eyebrow, but you do it of a noblewoman.
Yeah, then suddenly you're in big trouble.
Exactly.
Apparently, she also used to sew people into the body of a dead horse. So she would, she'd kill a horse, then she'd have other people hollow it out, take out all the organs, and then sew a person inside alive and wait for them to die. Nice. Yeah, really charming.
And where did she put the bodies? Her servants had to figure out where to bury everybody. And, the stench of human rotting bodies. So when she had guests, they were always wondering what that smell was. And so then she moved to another castle, during that period until they sorted out that mess. But word had to get out at some stage, and it did. And during that period and a little bit later on, there was a lot of vampire. People were very scared talking about these vampires, and she fitted the bill 100%.
Yeah, look, I think there was a huge amount of depravity in society that was considered quite normal at the time. But this part of the world seems to have had an excess of really brutal and quite violent people. And certainly all the legends around this area were monsters and vampires and werewolves. And I mean, it must have been a scary place to live, especially if you're some poor, uneducated peasant. And you're taught that the woman in the castle is also going to try and steal you at some point to torture you to death. Kind of been fun, living in one of her towns that she owned.
No, it just would have been terrible. And I think that, imagine sending your daughter to this finishing school and she never comes back. And that's what happened.
Oh, she made up a story, by the way. She made up a story about that. She said one of the girls had gone crazy and killed all the others. But nobody really believed that. That was also when Grigori Turso got involved. He was actually appointed by the king to investigate because these noble women had gone missing. These young girls who belonged to these aristocratic families had gone missing. Apparently, he pitched up at the castle unannounced, and he and his soldiers waited in a place they couldn't see them. And she, Elizabeth, and her one accomplice, this Anna, this witch, made an incantation outside the door of the castle, outside the gates of the castle. And supposedly they heard her kind of casting this spell. Now, again, we don't know if this is true or not, but this is what they wrote in their testimony. And that they then went up to the castle and found a partly disembodied corpse of a young girl right at the gate. And that was when he said, look, we got to sort this shit out right now. Went in with his soldiers. They found people torturing girls in the dungeons. They found Elizabeth, and they decided there and then something's got to be done. Apparently, Grigory then called a little meeting of all of the Bathory relatives, said to them, listen, guys, in order to not embarrass her, we will just incarcerate her without a trial, which also seems kind of convenient now in retrospect, because you shut her up. She can never really tell her side of the story. She can't defend herself. And they just pretty much locked her away from that point on. That was the last anyone saw of her.
Yeah. But King Matthias, who was a Habsburg, he wanted her to be tried. Her servants were tried and they were hanged, quartered, chopped up, whatever they did in those days. But they never tried her because of the nobility and what it could have on the nobility in the area or in the region. So she was just 100% correct. They put her in her castle and they bricked the castle up and kept her a prisoner.
Yeah, I mean, some people say it was house arrest, but if you brick someone into their own dungeon, there was no door. She died in there. She complained that her hands were cold on the last night of her life. And the guard said to her, don't worry about that. Just go and have a rest. And she died the next morning.
But if you look at her legacy and where she comes from, she was named the most prolific murderer, a female murderer in the Guinness Book of Records. She was compared to Vlad, the Impaler, and he was one of the most notorious people in history. I mean, that's quite vicious company to be part of. Her legacy was the scary, haunted, blood-sucking sadist.
Terrifying. So, all of that is true. And I do think it's also fair, again, to just bring in the other side of the story, because modern historians have said that she might have been the victim of a conspiracy. And they say that there was a lot of political motivation behind the things that happened to her. Apparently, the king owed her a huge debt for fighting the Ottomans because her husband had brought back treasures from his defeat of the Ottomans. And they'd become very wealthy during those wars. But the coffers of King Matthias had become depleted. And he actually borrowed money from Elizabeth Bathory. And interestingly enough, his debts were cancelled as soon as she died, which also makes you think that's convenient.
100%. Bathory also appeared to have supported her nephew, which is Gabor Bathory, and he wasn't really liked. He was the ruler of Transylvania. So it wasn't uncommon to accuse wealthy widows of murder, witchcraft, or sexual misconduct during that period.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, if you were a woman and you were just a little bit outside of the box and they couldn't call you a good wife and a good mother, and you broke any rules or taboos, and clearly she was a little different to the other women, then of course you were obviously a witch and there must have been something wrong with you. So again, looking at it with the lens of kind of hindsight, you may be more forgiving of her than history seems to have been. In any case, she does hold that Guinness record for the most kills as a serial killer. And I'm absolutely convinced that nobody wants to wander around that castle at night.
Definitely not.
It's now a ruin, the castle where she lived to her dying days. There's not a lot left of it, but it is in a scary part of the world, and it's spooky as all hell.
Yeah, I don't think I wouldn't be part of that. Definitely not.
The Blood Countess, Elizabeth Bathory. Blind History is brought to you by Taylor Blinds and Shutters. All the episodes are available on the CliffCentral.com website and app, as well as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. By the way, she's supposed to have just buried the bodies in the courtyard of her castle. She didn't even try that hard. I mean, like shallow graves, dogs would dig up one or two of the bodies and there'd be like an arm sticking out in the courtyard. And this is all obviously told, a couple of generations later, but supposedly the hungry dogs would just dig up the bodies of all of her victims.